What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Live here on Keystroke Medium. I am Josh Hayes, here with Scott Moon, and today, the author of the Waymaker Wars series, Space Junk, the bounty. What is the bounty hunter one called? I had it pulled up, and now I can't remember.
It was called Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, it was called Bounty Hunter.
Yeah. I went really original with that one.
Yeah. Rachel Aukes is here today to talk about her new series, Waymaker Wars. We had her back on in January, and it was so much fun to talk to her. Then I wanted to have her back on now because her book, Space Junk, releases tomorrow on Amazon. Is it a simultaneous release with all of the Audible and paperback and all that stuff?
Yes. Yep. Classic 8th on release with the book one. So, yeah.
You gotta love that, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I am excited to jump into that conversation only because we get to talk to you every week as part of our writers group. So it's fun listening to all the updates going through, like as you're writing and going through the different the process of creating the book, and then hearing like, oh, I'm struggling here. So it's fun to talk about it now that it's finally done and over with and being published, and that's always good times. So welcome back to the show, Rachel.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Let's see. I think there was a thing. It's going to be fiery. I've got a rant upcoming. So if you're wondering if you're going to stick around for the show, I've got a rant upcoming.
I'm reading about the rant subject right now, and I got more information.
Keith Taylor was the first comment of the day. So Keith gets the Keystroke Medium golf clap of appreciation. Welcome. Charlie's in Minnesota today. Welcome. What's up, Rick Partlow? What's up, humans? Tom Hoddle's in the house. Welcome. Will we see Scott today? This is actually really convenient that I found that post right as Scott was gone. Like, oh, way. That's funny. Corey Gillum is here. Lisa's here. Welcome. Who else is here? Walt. Walt Robillard. Bounty Hunter was cool, he says. And Tom says, Space Junk of Doom. And Bart of Today is here. Welcome. Okay, we'll jump right into the updates this week. Scott, you get to go first because I like putting you on the hot seat, and then we'll shift down to Rachel, and then I'll pick up the back end of the updates.
I wasn't prepared to do my updates because I was too busy reading about Kevin Harrington, who apparently was on that show.
That's exactly why I chose you to go first.
I know he was the host, one of the hosts on Shark Tank. But yeah, there's just a whole lot more that I saw there. I sent you that link, by the way.
I got it.
So this week, I doing the final edits, so getting the stuff from the proofreader group and stuff on Reaper 14, Fall of the Reaper. So I'm very excited about that coming forward. I think that should be the end of the month. I think April 30th ish is when we were May 30th. We were aiming for something like that. We always put the dates like way further out on the pre-orders on those so that we don't miss them. So like for Fall of the Reaper, it says June 27th, but it's actually going to be the end of the month. So working on that, doing a little bit and then mostly just running around doing chores. We had an electrical walkthrough for the new house, which I thought was going to take 3 or 4 hours, but it only took us like 2. So we got done back in time for the show. So I'm like really glad about that part. But yeah, and that writing, not getting hit by tornadoes, although I've been watching a lot of tornado videos. I don't know if you guys saw the one that has the drone footage of the tornado. It's like, wow, you can see the house is flying into the air. Yeah, that's crazy. That's like if it had been a week or two earlier, that's where my youngest son went to swimming lessons at that YMCA. We would have just left there. We would have still not been in the tornado, but we are very familiar with that and the people that work there. So, well,
did you see that there's warnings for possible tornado activity today?
Yeah, it's supposed to be more severe weather today, and so
well, actually, after the show's done, we're going to get Jay from school, so we don't have to worry about her being on the bus when all that crazy stuff starts happening.
Yeah, it's late afternoon or something when it's coming. So we'll see. I haven't worked a tornado at work for a while. I worked the 98 tornado, and then there's I can't remember when the last one was, but they're really not fun to work from an emergency responder perspective. Anyways, that's it. That's all I've done.
That's a lot.
We're hanging out.
Yeah. Rachel, what about you?
All right. So I wrapped up the book 3 in the Waymaker Wars. So space junk that we're talking about today is book 1. And so officially you're guaranteed at least 3 books because I just wrapped up and handed it off to the editor last night. So yeah, I think I wrote almost 30,000 words last week. I really was in the zone and hammered it out. And so yeah, book 3 is officially Malfunction Junction is that one.
I love the titles. Those are the best.
Yeah.
Best titles.
Yeah, Freezer Burn is book 2. And so yeah, that was fun. So all of my week was spent on that. So now I'm kind of enjoying the breather of stepping back from writing and catching up on all my other little things. Like I have a thriller that I've written that I need to figure out what in the world to do with because I seem to not be able to stick with the genre. And
when you figure that out, let me know because everybody wants to write a thriller.
I know
how to do it or how to sell it.
Yeah, and that's my problem. I was like, oh, I want to write a thriller, so I write it, and now it's sitting here. I'm like, oh, what do I do with it?
It's a good problem to have. I got books lying around. I need to publish.
Yeah, and I got a superhero story that's like 2/3 done that I need to just get done, and so yeah, this is my week of doing all of my little redheaded stepchildren projects.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. So how about you, Josh?
Well, I am plugging away on Weaponized. I think I'm super close to like the 80,000 word mark. I'm on the downslope for the book. I am talking with Jeff Haskell, and it sounds like I'm going to be able to write a short story in his brand new universe, the Grimm's War universe.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's if I can get it done in time, it will be featured in the 3rd book of the trilogy that we had him on the show. Did we have him on the show last week?
I believe it was last week.
I can't remember if we had him on the show last week.
This year. I don't know why.
We just had him on the show talking about the 1st book. I've read the 1st book. I'm like halfway through the 2nd book. If I can get the short story complete, it'll be kind of like a bonus add-on to the last book, and it's going to focus on Jennings, who is the Marine on the Interceptor, on the ship that is the main ship in the.
That's cool. That's the one from the high gravity planet.
Yes. Yeah. I halfway through the 2nd book, she gets some really cool scenes and sections that she gets to kind of shine in, and I really thought that her character was fun. Sent him a message. I'm like, dude, if you ever have anybody that wants to do like, I don't know, some novellas or short stories or whatever, I'd love to write one about Jennings. And he didn't even think about it. He was like, yeah, dude, go. And so fortunately Steve was cool about it over at Athon, and he was like, hey, if we can get it done in time, we'll slide it into the end of the 3rd book. So I think it's gonna focus on one of her first missions as a Marine, and see if we can't loop in some cool little Easter eggs that will feature either in the series now or in the series in the future if he is fortunate enough to continue to write it. So I'm gonna start plugging away on that this afternoon sometime and see if I can't get it wrapped up. Tranquility is coming right along. I have some other sections that I need to write, and then there'll be some other news in that hopefully coming pretty soon. What else? I started. I don't know if you guys have ever read the original Thrawn trilogy from the Star Wars Expanded Universe.
It's on my very long to be read list.
I remember listening to the audiobooks like way back in the day when they were on CD, and they came in like there was 8 discs in the thing, and you had to like, I don't even know if that might have been on cassette tape. That's how long ago I listened to it. And there was like sound effects with the lightsabers and stuff. It was really cool. Anyway, I was at the store with my son the other day, and I saw the trilogy in paperback, and I can't remember anything about the series, so I picked up the paperback, and I've started reading that again, which is super fun.
Yeah, I remember I loved the cover of the first Thrawn book.
Yeah,
but I think I bought the ebook and haven't read it yet.
Well, and he's got like, I don't know, 6 or 8 more Thrawn books they're like still coming out, and they look really cool. I want to read them. And the thing is, one of the things I was thinking about the other day as I started to read them, and I was like conflicted about my hatred's a really strong word. My passionate dislike of everything new Star Wars that has come out, with several minor exceptions. Thinking, the books are so good, why don't I just read the books and just forget about the movies? Like, the movies never existed in my personal timeline, and I'll just read the books and love the books. Except for Rogue One. I think Rogue One's probably the best Star Wars movie ever.
Good. I like Solo, actually, but
A lot of people like Solo.
I thought it was...
So anyway, I started writing that or reading that, and that's fun. Well, I think that's it. I have hopefully some news on the fantasy stuff here coming in the next couple of weeks. We'll see. I wrote a new short story that a lot of people liked, and so anyway, got a lot of things, a lot of urns, a lot of stakes in the fire. Or what's the thing? Sticks?
Coals.
Coals? What? Coals in the fire?
Irons in the fire.
Irons.
in the
That's
fire.
it.
Ah.
Yeah. Between three of us, we make one really smart person.
Damn.
Yeah.
That was rough. Let's edit that out in post.
Yeah.
Pull that back in there. Well, I use that a lot in dialogue.
Even Rick got it. Rick got it. Irons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have smart commenters too.
I always have to say things like, "Yeah, it's not a cake walk." Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That
Mix it up.
Well, to be fair, like, we can like sit and work out what we're gonna say in our book for like hours at a time.
Well,
so we can make our characters smart, even if we're like, what? And I'm using thesaurus.com like every 5 words. Like,
this character is way smarter than me. I hate that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to rant today, and I meant to rant last week.
I'm very excited for this rant. It's good to see Josh in a good full-on rant.
Because listen, we have been doing this show for 7 years, and actually we're getting ready to this weekend. We're going to a writers conference in Oklahoma. That's the first writers conference that Scott and I ever went to when Keystroke Medium started. I think we were right in the middle of season 1. We had done 10 episodes. 4 episodes.
It was very
not a lot of episodes when we went to this conference. And when we went to that conference, we talked to people and we're like, oh yeah, we do a writing podcast. And really, we had just started. We had no idea what we're doing.
We tried to do one interview like in the atrium, and it was loud as hell. And
we couldn't do it together.
Yeah, no.
So anyway, we're going back, and we've got 4 panels that we're doing. It's going to be a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of these people that go to this specific conference, it's not like 20 books, where at 20 books, it's mostly all indie or hybrid. And a lot of the people that go to 20 books, actually, there's probably a good mix that are new to the
it's changed
industry
over the years, but there's still a lot of people that are just now exploring the idea of publishing anything for any reason.
Right. But I think they're in our community, there's a lot of people that can identify like right and wrong, like this is good, this is bad, but there's still a huge swath of the population that are either just starting their writing journey and have no idea what indie is, or are just ignorant and don't know any better. And I saw this ad on Instagram the other day, which took me to this website. And as I was scrolling through this website, my blood just started boiling, because I know every day we're learning new things. And a lot of things that we talk about are old hat and we don't think anything about. Like somebody says Amazon rank, and we're like, yeah, but not a lot of people don't get Amazon rank. They don't understand why we talk about that or what it means. And so then when I see stuff like this, I'm going to share my screen because I was able to bring up the website. When I see stuff like this, it really, really makes me mad, because the amount of people that take advantage of
this is raw exploitation of authors, of wannabe or new authors.
So on the Instagram post, it was like, start your self-publishing journey here, self-publishing packages, right? And then you can click the link and go. So this is their website, Mindstir Media. This is their website talking about self-publishing and ebook publishing services. The first package you get to is $2,300 that you're
What
paying
do you get
them
for $2,300?
to publish your book. And what you get is all of this, which looks like a lot, but a lot of this is basic shit that you have to have simply to publish a book. And we're talking about a barcode. Well, you don't need a barcode if you're self-publishing. Come on, let's be serious. You don't need a U.S. copyright notice. Come on. You don't need fast book printing. None of this stuff makes any sense, right? And then
what he's going to tell you is that you need a barcode to sell it in Barnes and Noble, implying that your book will then get into Barnes and Noble, which is not going to happen with this package.
Right. Ebook distribution. So you put it on Amazon. Like this
personally sending them out.
Yes. This kind of stuff irritates the shit out of me because go ahead, Rachel.
Oh, I like that it says no hidden fees.
Oh, yeah.
2,300 or so isn't enough.
Yeah. No, they're telling you the fees right up front, but it gets better. That's the cheap version.
This is the cheapest version, right? Then you go to the
50%
Pro, which
ebook royalty. Did you see that?
Yeah. 50% ebook and 50% paperback royalty. Blah. We all know that's shit, right? It's 50% of 70% ish, right? So we know the deal. Then you go to Pro and it's $4,000 or $1,100 a month. You get to set the retail price. You get free copies, 10 free copies. You get 60% royalty. And then you get a website and whatever this is, premium press release.
$1,500 is your website.
No. $1,500.
$1,500 value.
Yeah.
And those royalties are also probably after costs. It's going to be something like net.
100%.
After you pay for your own book cover and editing.
Then you go to Gold, which is $6,200. You get, this is where I lost my mind. This is where I got really mad because you're paying $4,000 or $2,300 for all of this stuff. But until you pay $6,200, you don't get editing. You don't get editing until you pay $6,200, a $2,000 value, editing your entire manuscript, not just an editorial evaluation report like other companies.
Well, and everything, as far as I know, almost basically everything on there up to the editing is free and would take you maybe a couple of days to learn by yourself or have a friend figure it out for you.
Right. Well, but you do get 20 free author copies. I mean, so for $6,300, you get 20 copies.
Buy 6,300 by 20 and see how much those each cost you.
So I'm not going to go through every single one of these things. I am going to point out that this Emerald most popular option is $10,000, and you get five interviews. Listen. I'll give you, we got 3 interviews for Jeff Haskell on our channel in the last 2 weeks, and he didn't pay us a dime. And I think we got undercharged for that.
I know. Where's our $10,000? Put a rip on.
Oh, man. Am I getting an invoice for this?
Yes.
Yeah. We decided to start with Rachel now that we know the error of our ways.
Yeah.
Free stuff.
And they don't stop at 10 grand, 13 grand. And for whoever this jackwagon is, you get an endorsement.
He's an entrepreneur that was a host for a while on Shark Tanks, but he got kicked off because he didn't want to fund anybody's Shark Tank idea, basically.
Yeah. Well, and then this guy, you get $25,000, 25 grand to publish a self-publishing book, and you get a foreword by Kevin Harrington. Who cares?
Which, even if it was a good thing, is that right for your genre?
Right. So anyway, I that irritates me. That pisses me off that they're
for $25,000. The number of books that make $25,000, is not everything you ebook publish is going to earn you back $25,000.
Yeah. So not only are they making you pay an exorbitant amount of money for nothing, and there's no way for a regular author is going to go, oh yeah, I'll pay 10 grand and I'll make that back in royalty sales. No problem. Come on.
Yeah.
Like the people that are in the know, like if your book makes 25 grand, you're doing something really good, but not like, so this is my other.
Oh, and if you make 25 grand and you don't know that you could easily just upload your book to KDP, hire an editor, for a fraction of what this costs, and a book cover designer, and put it out there, and then do some ads,
right?
Then you're probably not going to write a book that's going to make you $25,000 in no time.
You want to see what else makes me mad? And this makes me really angry. You can get a loan through this company for up to 50 grand to fund your self-publishing book. So not only are you paying them, let's just say 10 grand to publish your book, now you're going to pay them 8% on top of the 10 grand to publish your book.
It's the loan Shark Tank. That's how it's all together.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I say this rant because it irritates the crap out of me that people are still getting scammed and abused in this sort of way when the knowledge is out there, and you can watch this show, you can watch any other show, do your freaking research before you do anything, because if somebody is charging you to hold on, I've got to mute Discord. Discord's going crazy in my ears. There we go. If somebody is charging you to publish your book, you are not doing it correctly. If you're self-publishing and you're paying for the cover and you're paying for the editing, that is completely different. But if you're going to a publishing company, and that company is going to charge you money to publish your book, you are doing it incorrectly. Don't do that.
For $25,000, you could probably hire a pretty good professional book promoter who knows what they're doing in your genre and give them some of that money. Not this guy. I guarantee this guy couldn't sell a sci-fi book if he wanted to.
Right.
And if you look him up, and if I skimmed through a lot of it, I think he literally invented the infomercial is one of his credentials.
Yeah, exactly.
Big surprise there.
So I like that really, really irritates me. And the fact that I went on the Better Business Bureau and there are people leaving him 5-star reviews on the service tells me that there are a lot of really ignorant people out there that are looking for the easiest way to do it. And they think, oh, I could drop 10 grand on this. Yeah, sure. Why not? Don't do that. Don't.
Well, and there's a couple of things. He's targeting people who just don't know because they haven't been in it long enough. But he's also targeting, and I really believe this, a lot of the vanity press, they target people who are older and maybe they have some money and they just always had this dream of doing their book thing, and they're kind of from a little bit more old school. Yeah. And it's a targeted ripoff of people who some of them can't afford it. And the fact that it starts out with financing.
Yeah.
$250 a month, you buy a car for that much.
Right.
But it was also and it talked about the Amazon bestseller on the more expensive packages. So I'm guessing they assume they guarantee you a bestseller. So they're marketing to the ego too.
Yeah. You can get a bestseller in whatever genre niche for one day because they made your book free or something.
Yeah.
I would love to see the results.
It'll never happen. You'll never see the results
of the books that are for sale. And actually, I see some books that are on here on the website. So after we're done with the show, I'm going to scroll through some of these books and see what they are actually doing, because you can't. I can click on them, but it won't take me to their Amazon page. It doesn't do anything. It just shows me that those are the books that they've published. So after the show, I'm going to go through and look and see. So anyway, that's my rant. I apologize. I was super angry when I saw that because I hate to see authors being taken advantage of in any spot on the path to publish, like beginning, expert, whatever. I don't have any room in my heart for people that scam people out of money. Especially when the information is out there and it's super easy for you to, it'll take time. And of course, a lot of these people are probably the get rich quick type that are just like, I want to do this and I know that I can make $1 billion without actually looking into it.
It gets worse if you go further to the site. You can also pay somebody to write the book for you.
Of course you can. Of course you can.
All you got to do is shell out that money, and you can have whatever you want. Instant success. That's why everybody's doing it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to something fun, okay? Because that was my rant.
Watching you get mad was fun. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh man. I can still feel it in my chest. All right, Space Junk, the first book in the Waymaker Wars. It's you branded it as what is it? Harlock Space Pirate.
Yeah. Kind of
all
meets
right.
Expanse.
Yeah. So talk
Yeah.
about it. What was the idea behind this?
Yeah. So I love Harlock, and I don't know if other people have read it or not. It started off as a manga, and then I think it was turned into anime, although I didn't see the anime. I only saw the movie. But
I saw the movie.
Oh man, I thought it was awesome. I like it. You got this super bigger than life hero that is, mysterious and all of this stuff. He's been around for a long time, and I'm like, yeah, I need to do something like that. I want to have some fun with that. And so I went wild with Space Junk, and I had came up with Captain Jack Hale, and he's been around for over 300 years. So you read the book, you'll get to find out why. But he's true bigger than life type hero, and his crew is also very unique. They've been around a long time too, and the ship's special, and the whole series focuses on them in these interstellar type conflicts or things that pop up that just is, over the top bad. It's going to wipe out humanity type stuff. And then there comes Captain Jack, and what is he going to do? So it's been a lot of fun. I had a blast writing it. And I think Space Junk was my favorite book I've written so far, without a doubt. I had a lot of fun writing it.
You've written a lot of books.
I know. Yeah, I've written over 30, but that one was the most fun because I think I had I let myself go wild enough with it on the junk. And,
Let's talk about that. So if it's your favorite book, you probably put a lot of yourself in it. And I've written some books that I purposely write differently than I am as a person. Like I'm very sarcastic. I'm generally not very serious most of the time. I'm a funny guy. I try to be anyway. But a lot of the stuff that I write sometimes gets really serious, and I can't think of any character that I have written that really reminds me of me, if that makes sense. So what on this series made it the funnest to write?
I think because I did let myself go a little bit more wild than I did on any of my other science fiction series. So most of them, I always have, my humans are pretty straightforward humans. I didn't, add it to, and it's not magic. It's just the science is so much farther ahead. And it was just fun letting myself go wild with that. So I think that's why I had the most fun with it, because I don't think I resonate with any of the characters or put myself in it. I mean, I know I put myself a little bit into every character out there, but yeah, Captain Jack's kind of unique.
Sometimes you get the one that just really connect with. I think my Reaper guy, I've been told he's the easiest to write, and I have a lot of fun with that whole cast and crew.
Luke wants to know if you can describe your series poorly.
No, never played an author game.
Yeah, so Jack's a really, really old guy that tells people to get out of his yard.
I like space. I like
get out of my space yard.
Yeah,
damn it.
It's what is that? What's the Clint Eastwood movie?
Gran Torino.
Gran Torino in space. Yeah. but not
Actually,
really.
I would read Gran Torino in space. It'd be kind of interesting.
It is a bit like Gran Torino in space because he takes in a young Padawan type, and yeah.
Oh, nice!
You didn't even know it was Gran Torino.
No, now I know. Now I can know how to market it.
See? More ad copy. See, we're doing good work here today.
Talk about like selling the show. Like, okay, now you're on the show, so that's one of your interviews, so now you need to pay up. But now I've given you marketing advice, and that's also being charged on your annotated bill that you will receive.
Yes, I like the upsell. Yeah, so I've got to be up to at least cost of a coffee? Or
At
something?
least.
Coffee's very important to us around
So
here.
the space opera, I love writing like space opera. I think space opera is one of the the truest, funnest forms of science fiction you can write that really lets you do anything you want. I mean, obviously you can do anything you want in science fiction. That's part of the fun of the genre as a whole. But like military sci-fi that you get fit in, you get kind of there's barriers that you have in that genre that and like in hard science fiction, post-apoc, those kind of things, there's things that keep you locked in space opera. You could pretty much just do whatever you want.
Oh, my Wavium.
Yeah, exactly. So is that why, like with this, the genre just lets you kind of go and do whatever? What is the craziest thing, the most oddball thing that you were able to create or use as a plot device in your story?
First that comes to mind is something I use in the series. It doesn't appear in book 1 yet, but I have entities that live in dark matter and they use dark matter to travel through. And so trying to explain that from a scientific perspective was a little bit tricky because we don't exactly know how to track dark matter yet or anything. Yeah. So I had to, there was some hand wavium involved with that. But that was probably the most extreme piece, is because you're going to a whole temporal plane, variation there. So yeah.
Well, it's like Chris Fox had a space travel where to travel to space, you had to drive your ship through a star. You remember that series? So that was a little.
Fox did that.
Chris Fox did that.
I don't remember that. Was that in his Destroyer one?
Mm-hmm. That's how you went. You dove into a star and you come out the other side. You come out. That's where where the portals were, or something like that. So you can get away with a lot in space opera.
Yeah.
My Weaponized series it's Scott and I we had this discussion this weekend on our we were planning for a panel in Oklahoma, and one of our panels is a sci-fi panel, and one of the points we're going to talk about is the difference between military sci-fi and then sci-fi with military, right? Because there's a big difference in that. And so Weaponized is sci-fi with military. It's not going to be like totally mil sci-fi, and it's really like on the line of space opera. And the travel system I based off of one of my favorite games, Minecraft. And basically they're going to open, the ships have a drive that it's kind of like Honor Harrington's hyper space, right, where you go through into another dimension, and then you go through the different bands of travel and alpha beta whatever bands, and depending on which band you're in is how fast you go. Well, so mine is they're going to translate into this underspace or whatever I called it. I came up with a cool, clever name.
Hyperspace.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. But it's basically like 1 light year in this space is equal to 8 light years in normal space, because in Minecraft 1 block in the nether is equal to 8 blocks in the overworld. And so I was like, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use it. Yeah. And so I have the basically a nether space in my books.
Nice little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
There you
go. So
yes.
Go ahead.
Space travel is one of the hardest things to do on science fiction, because you can just make shit up, but you also have to have some explanation behind it. Otherwise, you really get dinged by some readers saying like, well, this doesn't make sense.
Right.
Because readers love to point out stuff that they don't think is scientific. Yes, Scott.
It's got to sound good, because we had this discussion one time when we were talking about science fiction. I'm like, well, it's all kind of a little bit space fantasy, because we can't actually
do any of it.
We can't do anything involved in this stuff. But I guess
Corey says
there's going to be more speed. Yeah. Ludicrous speed. That's
you can't stop. You've got to slow down first.
Yeah, Spaceballs is definitely an underrated movie.
Oh God, like every time, Scott can attest to this. Every time that I help people move and I pick up something heavy and I carry it somewhere, I go, man, I can carry 2 or 3 of these. And usually only a couple people get the reference. And they look at me like, why would you want to carry 3 dressers at the same time? And I'm like, no, it's from Spadeballs. You don't understand.
It helps you identify who the cool people are.
Yeah, exactly. If I move you and you go, aha, I see what you know, we could be best friends for life. Let's see. It's not fantasy because much of it is well, okay, but going into another dimension and traveling faster than light is not possible. Like, you can't do that. So that's false.
Yeah.
But I get
Yet.
yes.
Not possibly yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? Maybe we'll get magic in the future.
True.
So what was your aside from your main character, Hale, who was your favorite character to write for the series? And do you have like bad guys are typically my favorite to write? I guess we could leave that as a separate question and talk about who is your favorite character other than the main character, and then we'll talk about your antagonist.
Who's your favorite secondary character?
Yeah, because I really loved writing the crew. So Jack's probably my favorite character, but secondary to that would be Byrne. He's the engineer, so he maintains engine, all that stuff. Because he's the one with the biggest sense of humor. He's a ladies' man, and he's just fun. He really lightens the atmosphere a lot of times for the crew. So yeah, he would be my favorite secondary character.
Nice. I like the ladies' man character. I especially like the ladies' man character that is absolutely horrible with the ladies. Like, that is my favorite.
It's a legend in its own mind. Sort of.
It's like in Firefly. Jane is my favorite character in Firefly because he's like, from a certain point of view, he's a badass, but another point of view, I'm like, man, he's really dumb. Like.
I like Jane's awesome.
I love him. He's like, wouldn't it be great if we had some grenades right about now? One of the best lines in that whole movie.
Yeah, Jane is. Yeah, I think Jane was my favorite in that Firefly too.
Yeah,
because no one's ever said that their favorite's the Doctor or something.
Right? Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. What was the other line he had where what's his name was like, well, you want to be the captain of the ship? And he goes, yeah, I do. And the guy's like, well, you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, Mal and him had such good banter.
Yeah, that whole show, man, all those characters worked so well together.
Yeah, they're working out they're redoing the series. Like,
are they really?
There's going to be a new Firefly. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried.
It's tough.
Because are they just going to reinvent it with new actors for the same crew?
Yeah,
because I'd rather see a whole different crew, everything. But
yeah, it's tough because once you have that dynamic, like it's like the reboots of Star Trek are not very good, in my opinion. But if they hadn't been reboots, if they had just been something on their own, like the Chris Pine Star Treks, if they would have done those sci-fi stories like not related to Star Trek and not like taking over the characters, those movies I think would have been really good, like really fun to watch because it wasn't Star Trek. So it's tough when you look at rebooting something and then changing things because the original was so good. I don't know how they would match that.
Yeah,
it's kind of like
Star Trek Generations.
Yes. Well, that wasn't a reboot though. That was
no, that wasn't a reboot, but you were saying the original was so good. And I'm like,
okay.
That movie was not.
I meant Star Trek. I don't really watch the.
I love Star Trek Next Generation show, but the Star Trek Generations movie was that.
Yeah. I think I loved First Contact. I thought First Contact was a really good movie. This is why we can't have nice things. How do they clean Serenity? They run it through the wash. Yeah. Oh, it's too soon, Corey. Rick says transporters is presented in Star Trek or fantasy. No, it's not. That's strictly hard science fiction.
It's because we're having a fiery discussion in the live chat because I love how angry science fiction fans get if you call it space fantasy.
Yeah.
But so I brought up transporters as an example of. They said fantasy is something that goes contrary to reality. FTL assumes we don't know all the law. This says, where was it?
Right here.
Contrary to laws of reality. I said like transporters.
Yeah.
But I'm being a jerk today. I'm a real jerk in the live chat. I try to be all nice on the
Today.
camera, but in
Fire
the live
'em all
chat,
up.
I'm just
Ooh, Rachel, fire.
just a menace.
So we talked about your favorite secondary character. What's the
Oh, yeah.
villain? What are the villains like? Do you have aliens in this book or
Yeah, that's the fun thing is there's no real antagonist throughout most of the series. It's always shades of gray. Where so many, especially with space opera and stuff, you have very black and white, who's the good guys, who's the bad guys.
Right.
And the good guys are pretty obvious with Captain Jack and his crew on the Cabron, which is I loved coming up with the ship name because it means bastard in Spanish. But
yes?
There you go.
I'm
Yeah.
looking forward
I've
to
been
see
called
it.
that. I didn't know
Readers
what it meant.
catch that.
Thanks for that teaching moment, because I didn't know what that meant when people keep calling me that.
Yeah. So, well, my editor let it slide. So it's like, I guess they're fine with me calling the ship the bastards. So,
Yeah.
There you go. I think it's totally legit. Perfect.
yeah, we'll see how the readers think. But yeah, the first book, it does have a couple guys that definitely play the role of antagonists. I mean, they're heroes in their own minds, like all villains are. But
Indeed.
But yeah, there's no true like evil in it. There is an alien AI that's the whole center piece of a lot of this, but it's mostly a lot of my books you'll notice has kind of a libertarian theme because go figure. And so a lot of this is about some rebellions going against the centralized government and how they fight it out. But in the books, you also see how there is some, there is no true evil. So
Yeah.
that's one unique thing about this series, where a lot of my other books had a more clear bad guy, and I think this one's a little bit less obvious.
That's interesting. I some of my favorite books are books where the heroes could also be the antagonists of the story, if depending on how you read it. Like, for instance, like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, any one of those characters could be. If you are a Cersei fan, then like Daenerys and Jon are the bad guys. But if you're a Jon fan, then Cersei and everybody else is the bad. So it's really depending on how you read the books, really changes your view on who the bad guy is.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm trying to think if I've ever read one that the fantasy that I'm working on right now, it's kind of like that, where the bad guys are not actually the bad guys. So that's interesting. I really like books like that and different takes on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's so much, especially on TV nowadays, where they try to. It's so polarized.
Yeah.
And everything's so black and white on that. So it is nice to see the more depth into the storylines.
Well, it's interesting because there was a while there where I think that fiction in general, mostly fantasy and sci-fi, were going to more gray characters rather than the black and white. And I think that lasted for several years, kind of when Game of Thrones first became super popular on TV. And that characteristic of book really was it became super popular and everybody was doing it. And then it's like, well, what if I just want a book that has a bad guy in it? And so I think it kind of goes up and down, right? Like the way books are written kind of really.
We had this discussion about superhero books, how a lot of superhero stuff has become more, the heroes kind of have all these problems and issues, and maybe they're not as good as they seem. And I think we were talking to Jeff, and he's like, no, this is a hero is supposed to be heroic, and so on and so forth. That's been, and the obvious far end of that is the series The Boys, because there's nobody good in that at all.
And most of Alan Moore's graphic novels and books, there's no clear cut. None of his heroes are too heroic.
Yeah.
What they
think,
do.
oh, he's going to do something good.
Darkness.
Oh no, he didn't do something good. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I like when the mic gets muted on Josh, because some kid is getting chastised.
Yeah.
He almost made it in. It was like super close, and I was like, "Get out!"
Stop. Halt. Don't
But
move.
I'm hungry.
Yeah. Go eat your toe. Next year is going to be so great when they're going to be in school all day. I mean, the kids are great, but I want to put them on the bus and not worry about them till
They're
5.
great when they're in school.
So if you don't have a central villain, does and you're talking about the AI that kind of is present through the story.
Yeah, the Waymaker.
Okay, the titular villain.
Yes, the Waymaker Wars.
That was a big word for mine. Thank you very much.
You about dropped
That's
that one. I'm
great.
just going to throw that out.
No, I didn't.
You got it.
Yeah.
Good job.
Titular. There we go.
You really can't stop that halfway through the word. You have to.
You have to continue.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, I think it's inappropriate.
Otherwise, we get. Remember we used to have a YouTube account?
And we don't do that on this show.
Yeah, I remember last show they were talking about tit.
Yeah.
What was it? Tits.
Everybody say that 3 times fast.
I don't remember. So so the way I'm envisioning, and I'm going to get the audio. I have it pre-ordered. But the way that I see the way that you're describing kind of actually resembles Firefly in the way they kind of jump between different things and have multiple antagonists, but not like one big. So how is that how you structured the 3 books to take your crews through multiple events, or is there a big overarching thing that they're going to fight against and solve?
No, it definitely changes book to book. So that was one thing I did in this series harder than I've done in others is you'll read book 1 and you will have a good fulfilling conclusion. You know, they will handle the big problems and everything. And then book 2, I double the number of aliens, and book 3 I triple it. And so it just each time it gets bigger and bigger. But yeah, it's
Is this the one that you wrote as a standalone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Wrote it originally as a standalone. And then when I pitched Dathan, they're like, well, we like it. We want 3. And
They do that a lot.
Yeah.
They did that with Valor too. I was like, I got this great book, and they were like, cool, give me 2 more. And I'm like, I don't know I don't know what to do.
Yeah. That was my thoughts too. So I basically took book 1 and multiplied it each time of all the intensity and badness and stuff added in.
Nice. And so you mentioned during your update you're working on a couple other things. I know you've got a kind of a secret superhero project you're working on.
Judgmental.
Yes.
So.
Do you want to talk about that at all, or do you want to talk about the next project you have on the horizon that you're working on?
Sure. Yeah, I am really juggling. It's yeah, I think last time I talked to Red at Athon, he asked me like, what was next on the deck? Was I gonna, what was I gonna work on next? And I just start rattling off our projects. And he's like, whoa, pick a lane. Because I was all over the place. I'm like, I got superhero, I got post-apocalyptic, I've got a thriller. And they're like, oh, how about science fiction?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So on Wattpad, I'm about halfway done with this superhero story called Judgmental, and just need to get that done. I am kicking off my starting a new post-apocalyptic series because it's been way too long since I've done any kind of follow-ups to like my Deadland books. So I want to see if I still have any readers out there that still enjoy the post-apocalyptic side, because I got a really fun storyline to do. And
still a big genre.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, it's evergreen. I think zombies never die.
That's what I love about talking to Rachel. You never see it coming. Like, she just is having a regular conversation, like just out of nowhere. Then she just hits you with your like, okay, I see what you did there. All right.
We got to talk about Wattpad a little bit. Did we talk about that on the last show?
I don't know. I can't remember if we did. You have had a lot of success with Wattpad.
Yeah, I have. I'm one of the. I've been fortunate. They've given me a talent manager on Wattpad. It makes me sound so fancy, but it just means they help coach you and find opportunities for you. And so they've taken like some of my stories off Wattpad and publish them through like anthologies and things. So it's been great exposure. But yeah, I have gotten some readers through there. It's amazing. People who read serial fiction online doesn't always transport to Amazon buyers or whatnot. So
Did you hear
Wattpad.
Did you hear they got purchased? Wattpad did. A company called Naver just bought them for like $600 million.
Just?
Yep.
Huh?
Well, I guess it happened last year. It happened last year, but
Okay.
they're apparently they're working on a whole bunch of different levels of things, new things to do. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah, because they've done so much already. They've got their studios where they work with Netflix and the others. They have got the partnership with Webtoons because the same company that owns Wattpad owns Webtoons.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's the Naver, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the name was throwing me off. So then
But yeah, it does say Webtoons in this article here that I was looking at.
Yeah, so it is one thing I did always like about Wattpad is they always try new things and all, but the challenge is their audience doesn't always fit with my readership. So what I do out on Wattpad, I just treat as, it's fun experimental playground and whatever I write. My zombies have done great there, but science fiction in general doesn't do that good. So now if you're writing young romance or fan fiction romance, any kind of romance, you're probably going to do pretty good on there. But
because Wattpad is like romance and what you're saying, post-apocalyptic, the way that like Royal Road is to science fiction.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's interesting. Do you know of any of the big Wattpad authors that have done well on Amazon?
The only ones I do is the ones that that Wattpad then published their books, like through Simon & Schuster or something.
Oh, okay.
Because I think one of the biggest hits was there was a story called After, and they published that, but then it became a movie too. And so I think any of the books that become movies do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
the dog.
Walt says he's still waiting for Scott's Coyote urban fantasy romance story. I think we all are waiting for that.
Yes. I have not heard about that one, and I want to read it. Well,
it's an active romance.
I think that was forced upon me. I'm not sure that was my own idea.
Oh, come on now.
Come on, you're gonna have to do something after Reaper.
Oh no, there you go. Anything with coyotes.
Reaper romance.
I really should. I was talking about trying to name my
call it blistering.
Nice.
I can't.
This right here is why I love doing a live show, because this shit is hilarious to me.
Oh yeah.
Blistering Moon, the werewolf active adventure romance.
Yeah, some active coyote adventure.
You
have to watch. You have to go back about 29 shows to get the active romance reference. Probably. Actually, that came on pretty early in our podcasting.
Speaking of pretty early in our podcasting, so in kind of preparation for this conference that we're going to, Scott came over because now he lives like right down the street. So he came over, was sitting and chilling, and we're talking about what we want to do for this podcasting panel. And I said, maybe we should, or Scott was like, maybe we should like show a video of like our earliest shows. And so I went to our YouTube channel and scrolled all the way to the beginning. And the first video that we have on YouTube is actually our 10th episode. So I have absolutely no idea if we still have our first episodes anywhere. I'm going to look and see if we have them. So I played the first episode 10 of our deal, and I couldn't handle it. I was like, I can't watch this.
See if you can do the intro now.
Hi guys. I guess we're live now. Hello. I remember one we did where we thought we had worked out like beforehand. All right, I'm going to say my name and then you say your name. And so I was like, I'm Josh Hayes. And then Scott's just standing here looking at the camera. Oh, yeah. And then I go, and this is Scott Moon. And as soon as I start to say, and this is Scott Moon, then Scott goes, and I'm Scott Moon. It was like we had like a 5-minute audio like lapse.
We probably did have some serious because what we were using Blab,
Blab, first one we used
as the platform.
Walt says he still gets the weekly Scrivener videos by me. I see it all the time in my recommended videos, and I made the video. I'm like, and it's not even relevant anymore. It was like Scrivener 2. He said open of valor.
Nice.
Yeah. I tell you, like I was showing Scott the first stream I did on my personal channel of like this the vlog of words that I was trying to start, like
Even before KSM.
Yeah, I was like doing this thing where I was like writing and streaming at the same time, like way back in 2015. And it was horrible. Oh my God, it was so bad and cringeworthy. Don't go watch that, okay?
Yeah, but everything was more cringeworthy then. It's amazing how technology's gotten better and people have gotten more in front of.
Yeah.
You got a lot more mileage out of that back then than you would now, probably.
Yeah, well, yeah. So good times. Rachel, thanks so much for coming on the show again. It's always fun to hang out and talk with you apart from our weekly writers meeting.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I enjoy it. You guys were worth every penny.
George, the bill will be in the mail, and I expect a good tip. And
what is 20% of zero?
It's really difficult math.
Good tip.
I'm going to pull up the Waymaker. See, I had it up on my Chrome, but then I don't have the.
Yeah, comes out in 12 hours, and if you like audio, Scott IAO narrated it, and so he does fantastic voice.
Yeah, I got it on pre-order also.
The link's going to be in the live chat right there. It'll be in the show notes. Thanks to Ken Britz for Waymaker Wars. It's space junk.
Yeah, and junk's about garbage and stuff. Just so you know, it's not a romance or erotic. It's,
it's not active code.
I should have asked that question. Like face junk, huh?
Yeah. Can be on the shelf right next to Scott's Coyote Romance.
That'd be like back when you had a family video and you had that room in the back that had doors on it.
Like you had to go around the backside. Yeah. Space junk. I like it. Here's your tip. Never start a land war in Asia. True. True.
Good tip.
James Caserta is here. Hello. Welcome.
Hey, James.
Walt's got another title for you.
Blistering junk.
Ooh, blistering junk. Yeah.
That's just horrible.
Antibiotic for that.
There's a line you're not supposed to cross, and I think
it's antibiotic.
Yeah. That sounds like you need some medicine.
Everybody in the
desert too long.
Thank you guys for coming. Oh, Coyote of Valor, Thomas said. True. Kit, welcome, and thanks for hanging out with us today. So if I missed anybody else, Facebook user, I bet you that was Leo. It was Leo's birthday yesterday, if you guys didn't know.
I know. It should be a national holiday. I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah. See if I missed anybody else. I thought, Lisa was here. She was grabbing popcorn as you guys were fighting about the transporters. That is amazing. I love it. Coyote Ugly of Valor. We don't serve water at this space bar. I don't know. I just ran that. I should get like $500 for that collection of callbacks. And yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us today. I don't know what we're doing next week because I'm a professional podcaster and I should have a schedule, and I don't care because we do whatever we want here. It was great hanging out with Rachel today. Thanks again for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll do some on remote type videos this weekend if we have time from Oklahoma. And the I always say it wrong, Oklahoma Writers Federation Inc. Or no, Federated Inc. Federation?
Incorporated. Yeah.
It's really
it is a kind of a clunky, cumbersome thing, but
yeah, they like their symbols.
Yeah.
I've always liked that conference. It was the first one I ever went to years ago, and it's the first one I ever pitched a book and had agents ask me to send more chapters. This is back before indie times, and so it was like a really big deal. So excited!
But it's back in the before times.
Back in the before times.
He's chiseling out his proposal on stone tablets.
Exactly. I'm gonna start using that in my books now. Like, before KDP, be KDP or something like that.
Rick
Yeah.
says Oklahoma with Oklahoma
Sweeping
with
down the
birds
page.
come sweeping down the page.
Yeah,
That's
and that's
the only
literally
thing I'm ever gonna do on the show. So
yeah.
clip
Do you
it.
know what happened to the rest of the lyrics?
I don't
to that
know. I
song?
think when you're in Oklahoma, you should sing the whole podcast.
Oh yeah.
Oh, when we're driving down there, as soon as we pass, we're gonna just belt it out and sing it.
Yeah. We should probably get the lyrics to the rest of the song.
Yeah, because I just know the first line. Like that's it. I'll just sing it on repeat. My kids, when they learned the Christmas Tree song for Christmas a couple of years ago, all they sang was "Oh Christmas Tree," but they would do like the whole "Oh Christmas Tree, oh
Oh, to
Christmas
all the
Tree,
melodies.
oh
Yeah.
Christmas Tree, oh Christmas Tree." Yeah. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us today. We really enjoyed it. Come back next week. We're going to talk about some reading, some writing, and of course everything in between right here on Keystroke Medium. Peace.